What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room. And this is where we at now. So apparently, of course, Pam Bondi has brought up charges on these buffoons that decided to basically storm a church. And allegedly here as well, of course, there's been names that have been named. Also, too, Don Lemon has not been brought up on any charges just yet. But listen, look, people, we all know who brought the story forthwith. So we're going to dive off into this, and we're going to go here now. Quarters, nickels, and dimes.
Playing the entire time. So, Pam Bondi, you want to come and arrest me? You want to come and give me charges? So be it. And for all the people giving me death threats, threatening my life, kill me. Go ahead, kill me. Because you know what? As Fred Hampton said, you can kill the revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution.
Now here we go, Fred Hampton, and oh, Jesus Christ. They always want to use black people and stuff like that were actually part of movements at the time that, when black people were actually going through certain struggles and things like that. We had, our own movements and stuff. They always trying to use Dr. King and I'm so tired of that. I'm so tired. Can't y'all come up with y'all own sayings or not even sayings, but well, obviously they can't because, obviously he's a part of the situation here. And, he's been white in America his whole life. Let's just keep that honest. Crazy fool out here talking out the side of his neck. This is ridiculous right here. So we're going to keep going because it's always crazy out here. So let's see what's happening here.
Someone has illegally. Now, we got some breaking news, Paul. I'm going to get to that on a Fox News alert because moments ago, remember that church incident on Sunday in Minneapolis? The AG Pam Bondi posted this, all right? I'm reading now. Minutes ago, at my direction, HSI and FBI agents executed an arrest in Minnesota. So far, we've arrested So far, okay, we'll come back to that. So far, we have arrested Nikema Levy Armstrong, who allegedly played a key role in organizing the coordinated attack on City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota. We will share more updates as they become available. Listen loud and clear. We do not tolerate attacks on places of worship, end quote. I want you to react to that, Paul. But on Monday, Tricia McLaughlin was on with Dana and me. And part of her answer said, I think we will be seeing mugshots very soon. She was tipping her hand that arrests were on the way, and this is the first one that's been made.
Yeah, and, look, there's going to be very, very little that they can do in defense of this because it's on film, and for once, they didn't cover their faces. Now, here is the thing that's going to come out of this. You have her under arrest. Now you're going to get the communications. And this is where it starts to spider web out. You start to see who was talking to who showed up in regard, including Don Lemon. How much did they all know going in? That imports things like conspiracy charges, which can be quite heavy. There's criminal civil rights charges that are implicated in the church incident.
This is also because one of the things that we found out about that was that they were targeting them because they were privileged white supremacists.
We talked about that earlier in the week. Not only did that come out in the video and that they said something like that in the church, but then after the fact, Lemon talks about exactly that, putting a racial overtone in the whole thing, which potentially could import a hate crime. So these are, this was
another
really
thing
badly
about this,
done.
The woman that they've just arrested, I talked a little bit about this on the 5 yesterday because Cam Cawthorn, he writes for Fox Digital, and he had a piece about her. So she's been doing professional protesting and organizing for a long time. She gets a lot of grants from different nonprofits, and she's always made more money than.
There we go with that nonprofit shit. Same shit them Somalians is using with that nonprofit ass crap. Man, I don't know, man. Maybe we need to make nonprofits illegal.
She has spent. So there's a financial incentive for her. There's a business model for these types of things.
We've talked about this really since I've been on the network. One of the things that I've tried to sort of bang the gong on that I think a lot of police who do investigations see that the public doesn't see is that there is a career protester. And it is developed over the last, let's say, dozen years or so into a very lucrative industry. And you have people who do this for a living, make a ton of money. Yes. They weaponize people who don't know.
Okay, so no wonder these people don't have jobs and stuff like that. If they're actually being paid a livable wage to get out there and disturb people and protest and, burn cars and do all types of crazy stuff and run up in churches. Man, are they seriously? Oh my goodness. So obviously, and this is from Fox News here, they're clearly saying that these people are a part of some type of business situation to where they're being paid. And from what he's saying, they're being paid a decent amount of money to do this crazy ass shit. This is wide open here.
Any better, to use the Leninist term, useful idiots. They're looking for any cause in the world. They get them out of the campuses. They grow those groups and those institutions, and then they pick out people who want to stay in that world, who don't go back to East Cupcake and get a job eventually after college. They stay in that. They become the middle management, and it grows and it grows. It's very much like any other industry. The problem with it is if you dig down deep enough, you find out that there's tax money going into all of this stuff. Yeah.
Wow. Hey, just like we thought. Nonprofit shit, tax money being used all over the place. You know, man, please lock their ass up too. Maybe you can get them on some fraud too. Let's go. Let's see. I want the full investigation to see if they got some fraud going on in that nonprofit shit they got. Real talk. Let's go here now.
The vice president isn't the only Trump administration official who has been here. Attorney General Pam Bondi is also in the Twin Cities. And today she posted photos and videos of 2 arrests in connection with the protests at City's Church in St. Paul last weekend. Jonah Kaplan has the latest.
The Trump administration had not been shy about its intentions, and on Thursday it followed through. Agents arresting community activist and civil rights attorney Nakima Levy Armstrong and St. Paul School Board member Chantel Allen, with a show of force on the ground and a chopper in the air in downtown Minneapolis. The White House then posting what appears to be an altered image of Armstrong's arrest, apparently using AI to make her appear to cry. The White House calling the picture on the left a meme. Armstrong and Allen are charged with a civil rights violation tied to something called the FACE Act, which protects freedom of access to health clinics and also houses of worship. But take a look at this arrest warrant obtained by WCCO. There are 2 charges on it, but one crossed off by Magistrate Judge Douglas Miko, who added the words, "no probable cause." Sources also told CBS News that Miko, a former federal public defender, also struck down the arrest warrant for journalist Don Lemon, who walked alongside protesters as they interrupted services on Sunday at City's Church. The judge also denied prosecutors' request to keep Armstrong and Allen in jail.
This was propaganda to say we will take your people on trumped up charges.
After the hearing,
oh Lord, here we go. These people clearly ran up in a church, man. Oh my goodness, bro. What are we doing out here? Man, listen, look, the wicked never stops, bro. The wicked never stops. And that's part of the problem, definitely with the New Age church, man. You know what I'm saying? And the Christian church, man, it's too soft. It's too soft. The wicked never stop. It's too soft nowadays. I'm sorry. These people just ran up in there. Won't run up in any other church on the planet. Let's go.
A large crowd of supporters eagerly awaited their release, including Allen's daughter, Amaria, who claimed she was told to stay outside because there was no room for her in the courtroom.
It's a duty to fight for our freedom. Yes. It's our duty to win. It's our duty to win. We love each other and support each other.
Prosecutors, though, appealed the suspect's release, and late Thursday, they were taken to the Sherburne County Jail.
Everybody here remembered Charlie Brown, and Lucy would pull the football every time we had a chance to kick it. Like, we are getting the goalposts moved every time, any move that we make.
Defense attorneys said they still expect Allen and Armstrong to be released on Friday. In St. Paul, Jonah Kaplan, WCCO News.
Man, stop it, bro. They getting released after harassing them men, women, and children in church service like that. Jesus Christ, bro. This is wicked out here. This is wicked. This is horrible work, bro. But I'm glad it's some type of justice being put in place here. Because it's definitely needed to make sure that people know you can't just run up in a church home, somebody's church home, and just, you know what I'm saying, clown these people and bring your cameras and all and just stick your mics in people's faces during the middle of church service. This is ridiculous, bro. You know, man, I'm hoping that they get all of them. Don too. You know, an example needs to be made out here, man. Justice needs to be had for this. I don't care what nobody say, bro. Justice needs to be had for this. This is ridiculous work. And these people sitting around here, and this chick talking about she just pops up anywhere she wants to and protests and do all this and talk out the side of her neck and stuff like that. Man,
Judge in Minneapolis has declined to sign a warrant for his arrest, apparently not persuaded by the criminal complaint filed by the DOJ that attempted to make a showing of probable cause. I'm just going to guess that it would have been the same two charges as we've seen against the earlier two, one under the FACE Act, which if it's a first violation is a misdemeanor, and one under the Klan Act, which is a conspiracy against rights, somebody else's attempt to exercise their civil rights.
Well, this reeks of politics. I can smell it here in Atlanta all the way coming from Minnesota today. Trespassing is a crime. The First Amendment does not give Don Lemon a shield against violating the rights of other people. Merely holding a microphone and calling yourself a journalist might make you a journalist within the meaning of the Fourth Amendment, but it doesn't mean that you get to use it as a defense to violate other people's First Amendment rights. It's important to understand, Megan, magistrate judges, federal magistrate judges, they are not appointed by any president. They're not confirmed by the Senate. They are hired as contractors by the judges who are the appointed judges on the court. So they are essentially employees. They get hired from the local community. Okay, these are lawyers, probably people with certain political connections who wound up getting these jobs. And so when you factor all this in together, along with the fact that there have been warrants that were issued for other three, I smell politics, and it reeks. I believe that's what it's about. Now, the Justice Department is not stuck here. They can always go to the grand jury and they can get an indictment. This magistrate's word is not and will not be, mark my words, the last one on the subject.
Now, I could believe that definitely. Like it is levels to the court system. And as he said clearly, which I didn't know about the magistrate judge situation. Yes, obviously, most judges in your city and stuff like that are not appointed by federal, federal politicians, anything like that. So, you vote these people in. And at this point right here, I'm pretty sure, I can agree with him. He sounds like you know what he's talking about. I'm not familiar with this gentleman here. I do know Megyn Kelly, though. I've, watched her stuff plenty of days. But all I'm saying is, though, if this is the case, this is wide open right here. And yes, I'm pretty sure that they could override this situation. Pam Bondi, she's the she's the Attorney General for the United States. So I'm pretty sure they can, make some moves here to get old Don to have a seat in a courthouse. Real talk. And that's just facts there. He may be escaping this right now, but I think that they're gonna have old Don have a seat in the courthouse somewhere here pretty soon.
They would have to go to a federal grand jury that's already impaneled. That right? Isn't that how it works? Yeah. And you kind of get in front of it and you make your case on how Don Lemon violated the elements of both of these laws.
Yeah, one way or another, it can go to a federal grand jury. Now, what I don't know, I think there might be a way. I was trying to research this before we came on air. I think there might be a way for prosecutors to get another bite at the apple by going to an Article III judge or perhaps a different court.
Meaning a district court judge who's been placed with lifetime tenure.
Yeah, but their options. Look, Don Lemon has won round one, and it's probably, like I said, due to politics, but I don't think it's over for him. I've seen the same videos and the evidence that you have and that your audience has seen, and what I see is a person who is acting together with people who are committing a crime. He is encouraging. He's an active participant. He's encouraging just by being there, and that takes you out of the realm of being a casual observer and squarely into the realm of being a participant. It doesn't take much to be an accessory. It simply takes facts that would show that you were actively involved, that you encouraged, that you helped in some way, even if it's just a tiny way. And just by being there and giving inspiration to those people, I think that could perhaps be enough. So I think Don Lemon.
Well, let's not forget, Phil, that he showed up with his cameras, which actually is encouragement to the BLM types. That's what they wanted. They wanted to make a splash with it. They loved the fact that they were on camera with Don Lemon. There's video of him hugging and kissing this Nakima Levy Armstrong. Clearly, the two of them are very familiar with one another.
Right.
He knew what was happening at a church before others did. That was obvious. He came in, he got in the face of that pastor who made clear no one wants to talk to you. He kept it pushing. He's on camera saying trauma is part of the process. Being forced to feel uncomfortable is part of the process. He argued that the First Amendment allowed it. He said that in front of a room full of people, that the First Amendment allowed them to be. All of this is assistance and participation in the actual protest. It's not journalism.
No, it's. I think you laid out the case exactly right. It's squarely in the realm of participation. He's not just a bystander. I think no one would dispute that someone, even if it's an amateur journalist or a former CNN journalist, Don Lemon has a First Amendment right to engage in news gathering and airing the news, showing the news. Nobody disputes that, but you can't take that step over into the other arena and become an active participant. And that, I think, under the totality of the circumstances, everything that I've seen shows that that's what Don Lemon was. He will be arrested. When there's a will, there's a way. The DOJ is going to find a way around this federal magistrate judge, because like I said, this is something that most people don't understand, but politics, particularly local politics, weighs heavily in who gets these jobs as federal magistrate judges and what.
So yeah, this is where we at here, people. Listen, look, man, he clearly stated that eventually, Pam Bondi and the powers that be are going to find a way around this situation here. Technically, in my eyes, and where I'm thinking about this, they really want Don, though. Like, they want Don. Now, of course, they got the other two chicks and stuff like that. Of course, it is what it is. And at the end of the day, though, low key, one of them chicks may cut a deal. Let's just be honest. They don't look like the type to, want to sit in prison all day, every day, up under a bunch of other women, smelling like corn chips. I guarantee you somebody gonna cut a deal, though. They gonna get old Don in the courthouse somewhere. I'm telling you now. But it is what it is, though. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say, and that, my friends, is the bottom line. That, my friends, is the bottom line.